So what kook are we moving tonight?
Michael Myers.
Trick or treat, baby.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with another video, another part of my 22 Shots of Appreciation series. But like my top 30 horror, my top 10 gore flicks, this is my top black and white films. Only 5 of them, so this should be pretty quick. But I do want to just say right at the beginning, I want to introduce my son Sam. Say hi.
Hi.
And this is a little different first time, but who knows, maybe we'll do this again. Again, this is top 5 black and white. I want to say real quick thank you to everyone so far. Again, thank you for those who have subbed, those who continue to hit the like button, those who leave comments once in a while. Appreciated it greatly. Keep listening if you so like, and I'll keep doing it, and if I can. So anyways, let's this is black and white, so I guess I just want to say real quick, you know, I'm like 46 now, and you know, it's 2016, and you know, black and white just isn't what it used to be. And I remember as a kid, black and white was normal. I mean, obviously color was well in, and not that old, but black and white, I mean, it was common. Now today we do have TCM, and that of course continually rolls black and white. Just out of curiosity, well, I want to say this too. I was kind of leading up to a point. As somebody who loves film, and my son absolutely loves film. See, you love film, right?
I love film so much.
In fact, tell him what your dream is.
I want to be a director.
And what school you want to go to.
USC.
See, so one of the things I wanted to do, you know, as I'm raising my family, is really pound home the idea of black and white films, because it is important. And as Frank Darabont mentions in his intro to his new release of The Mist, he stresses the importance of bringing back black and white, you know, to a norm. Most kids today, there are a lot of kids today who've never even seen, let alone just even know what a black and white movie is. And I've done really, you know, I've tried my best to make sure that we watch a lot of black and white movies, don't we?
Yes.
A lot of black and white movies, but we watch a lot of color too, right? So, what do you got a favorite black and white movie? One that just stands out that you love to watch all the time?
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. And what year was that?
That was 69.
You're close.
61.
No, when I say close, drop one.
68.
68, 1968. That's not so bad. 1968, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. So we'll see if that's on the list. But I do love black and white. I watch black and white as much as I possibly can, so anyways, let's get this started. This isn't like, I'm not trying to say this is, these are the absolute 5 best black and white films ever made. I mean, there's some good ones out there. I've recently come into, you know, I've recently watched Lifeboat by Alfred Hitchcock. Of course, there's a lot of great war movies from the day that are black and white. But we do watch a lot. Casablanca, I'm just going to put it out there, is maybe one of my all-time favorite black and white movies ever. I love that movie. Who doesn't love Peter Lorre? I mean, Peter Lorre is fantastic. So we're going to just kind of like run through this real quick. These are 5 movies that we love to watch. Pretty much anytime we can throw one of these movies in and just watch it. We don't really have to be in a special mood. We can just watch it. So we can just, anytime we can throw these in. They're great. And let me just get us started. Number 5 on our list, James Whale. He gets mentioned twice. 1932, The Old Dark House. If you have never seen The Old Dark House, you really need to. This is the Kino release, and this, I think I said on my top 30, this begs for a better re-release. I don't know, you know, who can do it, but somebody needs to do it. James Whale is absolutely phenomenal on the day, and I think out of all the James Whale movies, The Old Dark House might actually be my favorite. I think it's an incredible precursor to all the other movies that will come much later on, whether it's Spider Baby, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is about as demented of a family as you're going to get. And it's 1932. And Boris Karloff's in it, of course, and it is a great, great, great movie. So number 5, The Old Dark House. Why don't you go ahead and grab number 4?
Number 4, Frankenstein.
Anything you want to say?
Frankenstein, to me, is probably one of the best James Whale movies I've ever seen. And it's probably one of my favorite older 30s to 40s normal monster movie.
Anything in particular in that movie that you just love? Any scene that you love more than any other scene?
The ending.
What about the ending?
When Frankenstein had Victor Frankenstein with them on the barn thing.
The windmill?
Yeah, the windmill. And basically that scene, my favorite scene in this movie.
Okay, so that's your favorite James Whale movie?
Yeah.
James Whale movie. All right, number 4, the old original Frankenstein. Number 3, this is maybe, at least in terms of science fiction, one of my all-time favorites. It is a Howard Hawks production. Of course, Christian Nyby gets credit for directing. Of course, it is 1951, The Thing from Another World. And of course, this is the UK release. And what makes this release really special is none other than John Carpenter gives the commentary. And also there is a colorized version, unauthorized colorized version put in here. And you get the black and white cut, which is an older, rougher, dirty cut. But then on a separate disc, you have a cleaned up version of that black and white cut. So really 3 versions of the film on 2 discs. But most importantly, you do get a commentary by John Carpenter, which he says, and I don't understand how this all works, but he paid to be on here. So that's interesting. Well, it's one of his favorite films. And of course, if you watch a documentary on The Thing, you know that he talks about this being one of the first films he sits in a movie theater and throws his popcorn and stuff and whatnot. And this is really the first time he starts getting that inkling of I want to be a film director. And so John Carpenter provides the commentary on the UK release of the 1951 The Thing from Another World, number 3 on our top black and white film. Number 2, I was just reading Quentin Tarantino says of Jack Hill that he is the Howard Hawks of the exploitation films. And so, of course, 1968, Spider Baby. This is, of course, the Arrow release, and I would not have this movie in my collection if it wasn't for the 22 Shots of Nudes and Horror, the podcast. This is a phenomenal movie. If you have not seen this movie, you need to see this movie. I haven't really watched much of other Jack Hill's stuff, his exploitation stuff, but Spider Baby. What do you think of Spider Baby?
Creepy.
Creepy. It is pretty creepy, and it's got an interesting end, and it is definitely different. So if you have not checked out Spider Baby, number 2 on our list of the top black and white movies, you really need to see Spider Baby. And number 1, he's going to handle number 1. What's number 1?
Night of the Living Dead.
And who directed it?
George Romero.
And what was the year?
1968.
1968. George A. Romero. That is the signature copy right there, of course, and just so you can kind of see it a little better there. I learned about this particular edition when I visited the George A. Romero Museum. Of course, we both visited the museum down in Evans, CPA. If you've never checked out the cemetery where they filmed the movie, what did you think of the cemetery when we walked in there?
Yeah, pretty big.
Pretty big. What do you think in terms of watching it on film, having been there, seeing it? Would it surprise you actually standing there in the location and then seeing it on the film? Was there anything that was surprising to you from a director point of view?
That just seeing the way it would look like if it was colorized, just that it would look a lot different. Even though that it would look still the same, to me it would look a whole lot different. Even though it's colored and that's black and white.
what about just being in that little tiny area where they filmed pretty much the whole scene and knowing how big the cemetery actually is? Kind of surprising how big you can make something so small look on a film, and then you get there and realize that, wait a minute, there's this whole huge area, but they only picked one little spot to film. Did that surprise you at all?
Yeah.
And it was fun. I mean, what do you think of the museum?
The museum was really good. It had a lot of dummy bodies from all the other George zombie movies.
Plus, we got to see a little bit of that one movie, Shockwaves, in there, right? If you get a chance to get over there, it is in Evans City, Pennsylvania, where they filmed on location in the cemetery, the original Night of the Living Dead. And there is a museum in town that you can go into that is really pretty cool. And the guy who manages it is a really cool guy too. So that's a shout out to that museum. So that is our top 5. Of course, number 1 being the Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero's classic. And the signature edition. If you don't have this one, you ought to, because this has a commentary by him. And that is really fun to listen to. Spider Baby, number 2. Number 3, of course, A Thing from Another World. Number 4, the original Frankenstein. Number 5, James Whale's The Old Dark House. And that is our top 5 of what we think are some pretty darn good black and white films. And also, I just want to mention, too, if you've never seen or heard, Stanley Kubrick has a movie that I've discovered of recent, an old World War I movie that he did called Paths of Glory. You might want to check that out. That is a phenomenal war film that he did early back in the day, and that's black and white. So that one. And I also want to mention, too, that I raised up Frank Darabont's name earlier. You know, his Broom edition to the Mist is phenomenal. It's the black and white cut. And he mentions how, you know, he wished, like George Miller, he wished he could have released this to the theater in black and white. And I wish we could have seen it in the theater in black and white. And I know George Miller, from his new Mad Max film, Fury Road, he wished not only could he have released that in black and white, he wished he could have released that silent and in black and white. And of course, if you listen to the podcast, I dropped a voicemail maybe once or twice, and now how upset I was that they kind of let us on that we were going to get a Blu-ray edition that had the silent black and white cut of Fury Road, and of course they reneged on that. But we I don't know, as fans of the genre of black and white films, we really need to help these guys. Like, go out and get the rendition of The Mist, and we need to start supporting these guys that want to release their films in black and white. They want to bring some of this nostalgia back a little bit, if at all possible. And of course, the medium of Blu-ray does help them to do that. But how great would it be to go to a theater or drive-in and see this thing on black and white on a big screen? Would be pretty cool. I also want to throw a quick little shout out to Beyond the Realms podcast, or YouTube channel. I'm sorry, YouTube channel. I noticed he's doing a new series on black and white films, so you might want to go check that out and see what he's done so far as well. That's Jason over there at Beyond the Realms. So I think that's going to put a wrap on our top 5 black and white films. Again, this is my son Sam, and maybe we'll do this again. And just hope you enjoy. Again, VHS82 apostrophe. And hit the like button if you like, leave a comment if you like, and maybe a suggestion or maybe your own favorite black and white film. And do go out there and check out what Jason's doing over there in Beyond the Realms with his black and white films. And so till next time, go Bills.
One of these days, I'm going to punch you in the face.